that comes through. That's a struggle. And then what was the other question? I'm sorry.
And how have you volunteered and helped in your community?
In my community, uh, I participated in lots of the summer programs that we have, and I've helped tutor the students when COVID didn't hit us. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And Stefan? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Resilience means to be strong or to be tough or stick through something. So like I was accused of, well, this was last year before the pandemic, but um I was really stressed out because I was accused of stealing somebody's wallet because of my skin color, and it went on for about 2 months. And this one day I was really stressed out because they had an officer come and take me out of my classroom when I'm doing my work. And then I get sidetracked because I'm stressed out about this situation. And now I can't figure out where I left off with my work. So I had to get through that and stick to the pages.
Wow, that's unfortunate. And can you provide an example of how you volunteer within your community?
Um, I would pick up trash around the area because there's literally trash in our parking lot and people just don't care about it.
Mhm.
So sometimes I would go out and pick up the trash and pick up the trash because there's wildlife, like literally there's deer that come out here every night, and there was a trash bag on its tail. So uh yeah, we need to start cleaning our community and make sure it's clean and non legal.
Okay. Stefan, can we go back to the incident that you were just talking about? Um, in a sense, how did you, after everything that happened, how did you feel after?
Um I knew I didn't do it, so I never felt any type of guilt. So um I was just stressed about why they would come to me and say that I and assume that I did it. But how I felt after that, I felt good in the sense that they finally knew that it wasn't me because they pulled a whole investigation. So I felt I felt good.
Okay. No, thank you for telling us a story. I mean, a lot of people, there's something unfortunate that a lot of people go through, have these incidents. But you are very resilient to go through that, especially at a young age. And then pulling forward. I think when you say good, I think of it in the sense of being relief because it's something that you don't have to carry on your back.
Hmm.
But I'm happy that everything got resolved. And you are very resilient, to go through that at a young age and then having to just, wait it out, and prove your innocence, something that it's not a lot of people can do. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for telling us, thank you for telling us your story. Okay. Well, let's before I go to the next question, one question that was brought up in our chat was if any of you guys are at the age to vote, how are you feeling? Or how are you feeling with the upcoming election? Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Carmela or Stefan?
With the upcoming election, I have a lot of mixed feeling about it, only because the adults that are supposed to be protecting us and showing us examples are the same ones that are they're the same ones that are making a fool of themselves on the internet and the public. Like, for example, the debate between Trump and Joe Biden. That was, I would describe it as a clown show. They were being very unprofessional, and like, I know that lots of parents, like lots of my friends, they weren't allowed to watch the debate because their parents felt so strong about it, and they just felt like the way that they were behaving was very inappropriate, and I agree with them.
Okay. And Stefan?
Um, I think I don't really like politics because of what's happening now. Um, like I'm not sure what her name was, the girl that just spoke. Like she said, it's very unprofessional because they're grown adults
Mhm.
arguing back and forth. Um, I think it's dreadful.
Yeah,
Not
no. And that's an honest
not
answer.
healthy.
Hmm. It's not what we're used to. But with in that mindset of just thinking of, registering people to vote and talking about politics, how important do you think it is for your fellow youth to be registered to vote or participate in the political process?
Very important because I believe everybody has their own opinion, um, and that they cannot change our opinion by doing little stuff, by just campaigning weird things. But I'm sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. All right, yeah, that's my answer. I'm sorry.
Okay. Carmela?
I think that it's important for the youth today, especially at a young age, um, not only to educate themselves, but to become proactive in their community and educate their parents. Because I know in my community, like, for example, I've been battling. She's just like, what am I going to do? Like, what is my votes? Oh, my connection's unstable.
Yeah, I think your connection's a little
Like, my votes
unstable.
vote. Yeah. And she's like, if you don't, I told her that if you don't vote, we're going to end up with Trump again. And that's not helping anyone. So yeah, your vote matters, even though you think that it doesn't. So not only should youths be educating themselves, but they should be educating their parents. And when they do get the chance to vote, that they're making the right decisions for themselves and for their community.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's important. I think one thing we all can do is just educate ourselves, especially with this upcoming election. So let me ask one more question and I'll pass it over to Karema. How do you think the current racial climate affects you, and what's your viewpoint of what we can do for the future?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. Okay. How do you think the current racial climate affects you, and what's your viewpoint on what we can do for the future?
I think that what we can do for the future is we teach students, like in history class, we spend such a short time. We like most of our time is spent glorifying America instead of teaching what's actually going on in real time and teaching the mistakes of the past instead of, glorifying all the wars that we've won and stuff like that. So I feel that in school, they should teach the real harsh reality instead of like putting everything.
I think her internet's a little unstable. Stefan, do you want to answer that until we get Carmela back?
Yeah, I'm gonna expand on what she said actually about the truth. So we were actually having a conversation in my English class today, and I said it would be a different story if we heard the Native American side instead of the British side when British settlers first came to America. It wouldn't be the same story at all. So I believe that telling a different from a racial perspective, I believe that you should tell the right story. And another story of mine, I was profiled again for not being able to wear certain types of clothes. They thought I would steal from certain stores because of what school I came from. Before I had moved to this residency, I believe that for the future we should expand on not only Black culture but Hispanics, Asians, and different cultures.
Okay.
So racial.
And Carmela, do you want to expand what you were saying? You got cut off.
I was essentially just saying that we should teach the harsh reality and not sugarcoat everything in history when we're teaching or when in school, that history shouldn't be sugarcoated, that that war shouldn't be glorified, and that everyone should just be taught for what it was instead of teaching it from one person's perspective.
Yeah. No. I like your ideas, and I think that's something, I think that's where we're moving forward as like a nation. We see a lot of that right now, where everybody wants to know what the other side, as well as we want to know a little bit more that we may have missed. So that's, yeah, I like what you guys said, and that's something I think that we should start thinking about. So now we're going to open up the questions to our listening audience. Also allow some of our residents who have joined today respond to questions as well. Karima, what is our first question, if there's any?
I don't see a question, but there is a comment from Todd Del Tufo. He wanted to let Stephen know that he was also accused of stealing cash while he was working a concession stand at the Terp football game. And he can absolutely relate to how horrible a feeling he said he felt helpless. So I'm sure he appreciated that story and just wanted to share back with you, Stephen, that he also had a similar experience. If we don't have any questions from the audience, Ivana, you can go on to the backup question number 1.
We just got one more question.
Oh, okay.
From Melissa, and she says, where do you get your news most often? TV, online, etc. Where do you guys get your news? Carmela or Stefan?
I get my news from the Apple News app. There's an app installed into the Apple phone, and it just like feeds you news and stuff. So I just, whenever I'm bored, I just look at that.
Stefan, where do you get your news? may have lost him, so I'm gonna move on then to our questions. Okay, well, Carmela, what can adults and community leaders do to create better and safer communities for young people?
Educating on, well, you said safer, so educating them on the issues that are going on and letting them know the things that they can do, and just making them feel comfortable, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. What are goals that you have for yourself, and where do you see yourself in 10 years? This is something me and Carmela talk about all the time.
Well, so in school, I'm taking a lot of dual enrollment classes for Nova, and what I was planning to do was that so what I was looking at was when I apply to schools, the school that gives me the most money, I go there, and then I transfer my college credits that I earn in high school to the school. Or what I can do is right after high school, go to Nova, and then I'll only spend like a year or less there, and then I'll have my associate's degree, and then I'll transfer it to college.
And can you tell us a little bit, this is a sidetrack, but this is good to know. Why did you pick University of Richmond?
Okay. So I've been talking to you a lot about this school, but the first time that we went on the campus, I think it was freshman year that we visited the campus of the school, and I just thought it was jaw-dropping. It was beautiful. The students, they were really nice, and they had really good programs. And one of their programs, it was like a leader study or something like that, and I thought that was really cool. And they said that a lot of schools have adopted that into into their school system. Yes, hello.
Okay. And let's do one from the audience. It's from Tori. She says, do you and your peers have items that you need to be successful with online schooling? She may have frozen again. Can you hear us, Carmela?
Can you hear me?
It's a little scratchy.
I can hear you.
Did you hear my question, or you want me to repeat it?
I heard your question. And textbooks for online school.
Textbooks for online school?
To get the school has to go get our school textbooks, and I got my IB in environmental and sports education textbooks, and really helpful.
Okay. I think one thing that you can do to maybe help our conversation, because sometimes it does go to scratch. Do you mind turning off your camera for a second? So that maybe that may help.
Is it good now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, now it's better. And I see, I think.
Yes, Steven's back.
Steven's back? Okay, cool. Okay, so this is for Steven, since Kamala has been answering the questions. Steven, what are your thoughts about the recent Black Lives Matters movement that has led to changes? Has any of them changed your lives? And what are your thoughts about the census and how it's engaging others to go out to vote? We can't hear you.
I don't think the Black Lives Matter movement has changed the way how people feel, because Breonna Taylor's case hasn't been closed correctly yet, and they're doing small things like naming streets after the Black Lives Matter movement, and I don't think that's enough to help us as.
Okay. And then how about I'm curious to hear about, has there any surroundings about the Black Lives movement within your community? Has, I know for Stony Brook, Carmela and Deborah did organize like a small march. Anything similar to that within your community?
Not that I've seen, but there have been marches close by. I think there was one by my old job near Meriwether Post Pavilion. There was a small one, but I missed it. But there has been small changes of people noticing Black Lives Matter. I've been seeing a lot more people wearing and showing their Black Lives Matter movement merch, like their T-shirts and their hoodies and stuff. So, yeah.
And how about you, Carmela? Any thoughts on what Steven said or the questions?
Wait, can you repeat that just for like a split sec, because you cut off?
Okay, and I think that's Deborah joining in too, the Zoom user. But the question was, what are your thoughts about the recent Black Lives Matter movement that has led to changes? Any changes in particular that has impacted your life with the Black Lives Matter movement?
I know that lots of people in my community have been educating themselves and they've been speaking out. Like lots of students whose parents whose parents that are conservative have been speaking out and educating their parents too. For example, one of my friends, her name's Jaya, she's been a really, really strong advocate. She wasn't able to go to the protest with us, but she helped us gather people and she spread the word around her friends and family to get people to come. But I mean, with the whole entire movement, people have really been taking time to educate themselves on issues that they didn't know, and with that, with the BLM movement, people have also opened their eyes to things, to world issues that have been going on other than just the United States.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts. Deborah, if you have time, can you introduce yourselves? And I know you got off work, but thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Deborah. I'm a junior. I'm also 16, and I've been volunteering since the 6th grade. I'm sorry.
So Deborah comes from our Stony Brook community. She is also a sophomore, like Carmela. And she, as like Ryan said earlier, her and Carmela had led a march within the community when the Black Lives Matter movement started. And Ryan posted the photos up if you guys want to see it. And it was raining cats and dogs. So that picture is very lovely. Okay, so let's do a few more questions. What changes do you guys want to see in your community 10 years from now? And any of you guys can answer this. Carmela, Deborah, or Steven.
To see that far into the future.
Okay, five years from now then.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. the question was, what changes do you guys want to see in your community 10 years from now? So what changes would you want to see in Stony Brook?
I want to see more people get involved in the community and try to help out more.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see diversity and equality, because there's not much around here besides a theater and a mall. I mean, a mall is okay because we get to, as young adults and kids, we get there and go shopping and stuff. But I like to see more restaurants that expand on different cultures and stuff like that.
Okay. And Carmela, how about you?
Just more adult participation would be really nice and good.
Yeah. No, those are all good answers.
I have one more.
Go ahead.
I also want to see more programs being created. I know for some time now I've been trying to join a Black Lives Matter youth program, but there's not any down here. So programs like that I would like to be created down here.
Okay. All right. And let's talk about one last question. How do you feel about the racial tensions in the country experiencing now, and how does that concern you about the future?
May you repeat that, please?
Yeah. How do you feel about the racial tensions the country is experiencing now, and how does that concern you about the future?
The racial tension, I believe, is very intense because of our current president. I believe that he should expand more on his racial equality because there's a lot of it's more like a one pure race with him. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that, but it's more one-sided with him instead of being equal. And seeing how I'm sorry, I lost it.
No worries. I think, let me ask one more time. I know sometimes for myself too, I'll start a thought and then I'll think of another thought and then I lose the whole conversation in my head. The question is, how do you feel about the racial tension the country is experiencing now, and how does that concern you about the future?
That concerns me about the future because there's a lot of Trump rallies around here, and you see a lot of Trump supporters being very obnoxious. So I believe that there should be of an expansion of equality.
No, that's really good thoughts. Thank you. Can I ask specifically, just with what you said, how does that make you feel, seeing rallies around your neighborhood?
It's weird to me, but it's also uncomfortable. It doesn't make me feel any type of way, but it's strange because if you supported somebody for who they are before they became president, why didn't you keep supporting that person? That's just a question of mine.
No, that's a good question.
I think that everyone's entitled to their own opinions and thoughts, but when you start associating, like, for example, last night, I was scrolling through Instagram and I was looking at my friends' feeds and everything. And then one of my friends, they posted a video of a woman who was in her class, a teacher who was teaching a Zoom class. And then a student, I think it was like a history class or something. But then she was basically like yelling at the student saying, "Oh, I'm allowed to hate all Black people because when I was younger, at the age of 16, she was attacked by like a gang or something like that, and then that traumatized her." But the only thing that went through my head while watching that, I was like, that's really unfair of you to judge a whole entire group of people because of one encounter you had, and the encounter was with just like really bad people. You can't just judge someone because you can't just generalize people because of something bad that's happened to you with someone of the same race. And with everything, I have hope because we're not only seeing, because you asked a question and I'm just trying to answer it, but I kind of forgot what the question was, but I kind of remember it at the same time. But I have hope because everyone is standing up for each other now. We're all speaking out for each other, and we're educating each other. I know with the media, lots of my friends have been reposting and posting stuff and just like spreading word around. So there's a lot of educating going around. So I have hope.
No, thank you for that, Carmela. And I think that was beautifully said. You know, we just have to have hope. And like you said, people are being more aware of what's going on with social media and, you know, and TV and everything. Now we have more ways of just getting our information and passing the word around. So before we close this out, because let me ask one last question. What creates a resilient, engaged youth resident?
I believe somebody said something about this earlier. Speaking up of what they've gone through. I believe that more young adults will come out about what they've gone through, and I believe that's how you make a strong community of young adults or young minds.
No, that's nicely said.
I agree with what Stefan said.
You don't have any more thoughts, Carmela?
None that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pass it on to Karima.
Is Deborah still there? Did she get a chance to answer?
I think she dropped.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say we could circle back and ask her some of the questions that.
Oh, we know. Deborah, are you Zoom user?
Here.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Go
I
ahead.
didn't see you on my screen. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so let me ask you then the questions I asked them. Apologies for that. I didn't see you. That's why I thought you dropped. So the question I asked before were, how do you feel about the racial tension in the country experiencing now, and how does that concern you about the future? Do you
I
need
can't
me?
think of something right now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Or any of the other questions. Maybe even Deborah, talk to us a little bit because you got on a little bit later. We know you're working. Would you like to share with us a little bit about what resilience means to you? And then also talk a little bit, you've been a volunteer for so long at Stony Brook. Tell us about that experience and how you've helped out your community. So tell us about, what resilience means to you. Maybe you've had an experience that you've overcome in your life, and then talk to us a little bit about your volunteer experience.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with the volunteer experience. So, with starting like volunteering when I started volunteering, I like the fact that it's like explain. Oh my gosh, it has learning more things about myself. I've like before
Deborah, you're breaking up. Oh no, we really wanted to hear what you have to say. It might be better if you just call in since we can't see you. Do you want to call in on the phone line? Can you hear me? Oh, she's breaking up really bad. James, can you text her or email her real quick the number so she doesn't have to look it up? If you can do that. Any other questions from the audience or any other comments just in general that you wanted to share, Carmela or Stephen, anything you wanted to share and let us know? Don't be shy.
They don't bite.
May come back a little bit, but why don't we transition to James real quick, if you can do our quick show and Rezility demo for our young people. So as I just asked James to send Deborah the phone number. One thing we want to do is talk a little bit about Rezility. This is a platform that's an extension of an app. And so enterprise community development is continuing to grow and develop a platform to allow residents in its various communities to connect to resources, to connect to each other. We really, really, really want, when we talked before, I talked to the young people before the call about, I'm echoing on somebody's line. Okay, can you hear me? We want to use this as an extension of Rezility, as a way to connect, as a way to be able to share, but we also want you, both the staff and our residents, to really engage on this platform, to use this platform. So what we want to show you real quick is how you can do that. We want to continue this conversation through the technology that we have. As I said to you, Stephen, Carmela, Deborah, if you're back on the line, that I want your feedback. We want to be able to improve the app in a way that it can be valuable, a valuable tool for you. A valuable tool for you, Stephen, and maybe, being able to find a job or connect to one of the staff persons here for an internship, or just, having a good phone call for advice on how to do a good interview. But when you're ready, James, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I wanted to share with you guys, especially the youth, anyone who hasn't used the Rezility platform before, we're starting a group for the youth that are on Rezility. And the way that you would connect with, what you would have to do is connect with me so I can invite you to the group. And so here's how you would connect with me. You go to the chat button at the bottom right. You see that little messaging icon. You click that chat button, and then you would click the plus button right here to create a new chat. And then you can search by name. You can search someone by name. So as you can see, I kind of have names here already. And I also have my invitations here at the bottom. But when you search a new person, so I might search let me think of another. So you would search someone, and then it'll pop up here. So an invitation will pop up, and you can then add me as James Jackson. So you would have to search me, James Jackson, and then I can add you to a group. And then you can see here at the top right, there's a groups icon, and this is where we start all of our groups. And you will see groups that you can be in and that you could potentially join here. So that is kind of a walkthrough on that. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, James. Oh, go ahead.
So I previously dropped a link in the last Rezility Day for our social committee for signing up, and it's like a Google form. But just so because if I have your name and number, we can add you into the group without you having to connect with me. But that's just a side note there.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have a few more minutes. It looks like Deborah's back on the line. So Deborah, you were speaking, but we couldn't hear you. Would you like for me to repeat the question so you can answer it? I definitely want to give you some airtime before we close out. Let's see.
Hello?
Yeah,
You can
we
hear me?
are here. Yes, we can hear you.
What was the question again?
So I was asking you, tell us what Rezility means to you. And you had started off by telling us about your volunteer experience. We know you've been a volunteer at Stony Brook since the 6th grade, so for a very long time. So tell us about that, how that's helped you grow as a person and maybe giving you a little resilience.
Okay, so volunteering has helped me like build skills like leadership, taking responsibility. Before I started volunteering, I would literally like just stay to myself and I wouldn't really interact with others. But like, and also I used to have like really bad social anxiety, but I mean I kind of still do now, but it has helped me like learn to socialize with others and work together as a team to like build projects and help the community as one. That's pretty much the whole gist of it. It just helped me like become a better person and like see like a whole other side to the world and helping out and to help others and just not think of myself and all.
Okay, one more quick question for you, Deborah. Well, two. I wanted you to talk a little bit about where you see yourself in the future. I think you talked a little about going to NYU or Howard University. Some of the questions that you missed, or where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are some of your goals? And then, okay, that's a lot of questions. That was two. One more would be, how is the COVID pandemic affecting you and how are you adjusting to online school?
So how long are you asking for, like 5 or 10 years?
5, 10 years.
Okay, so I want to go either to NYU or maybe Howard, but like if I don't get into NYU, I want to go to school abroad. I haven't chose what school yet though. I also want to, when I get older, I want to work in the I want to work something that has to do with like civic organization, like someone like Tamika Mallory. So like I need to find out like a major that relates to that. And I just want to like have like my own civic organization that helps people around my community and like the NAACP. I want to have like my own organization or like Until Freedom or March NYC, I think. And also with the whole COVID thing. At first, it was like really hard to adjust, but like I've gotten used to it, and I actually prefer online school now because I can really like do my own thing and whatnot. But it's a bit harder because like you don't get one-on-one time with the teacher, and like if you don't know anything, it's kind of like nerve-wracking to like have to ask the teacher in front of everyone in the whole entire class. So sometimes I just stay quiet.
Awesome. Well, all of you are super brave. Stephen, Deborah, and Carmela, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. I learned from you. You all are brilliant. And I think it just reminds me that we have to listen to our young people more often and provide more opportunities to hear from you. And like all of you all said in some way or another, or have expressed in what you've done, don't ever be silenced, and definitely continue to speak up. And every opportunity you do, let your voice be heard. So I want to let Brian come back on to just close us out. And again, I thank you all for joining.
Sure. So look, again, I'll just second that. Thank you. I think we can't stop here. This is a start. This isn't meant to be the end. We've got to figure out how to keep the conversation going. It's sort of, I think it makes the point, right? During this, we all had some tech issues, yet we found out how to keep going. We found out how to keep the messages going and how to stay on track. And I think that is just such the story of this whole year. It's the story of what this conversation is about. Despite it all, despite what you didn't plan for, how do we keep on track? I do want to use this also as a chance to continue the dialogue around, what technology is holding you back? Because we certainly have it, us adults on this call and from our own homes. It's great to see you guys are trying to figure out how to get through it too. And I want to do a better job hearing back from youth that are trying to get on every day to do school, what's working and what's not. I think we need to do a better surveying. We're actually talking with Comcast and the folks who run, for example, the Internet Essentials, Comcast Essentials program. And they seem to think the speeds are great. And we just had a call with their senior folks last week. And they're like, oh yeah, when you get to 5 or 6 devices, then it doesn't work. And we keep hearing people saying, no, it kind of doesn't work with one device sometimes. So we want to do a little bit more follow-up on this and hear a little bit more about kind of what is the genuine experience, because I want to make it our job to give the real conversation back to Comcast about whether this tool is working for folks who are being a hindrance. So I will say thank you, but before we go, I actually want to do one more handoff and give it over to Nee for him to close us out. So Nee.
Awesome. Well, good afternoon, Deborah, Stefan, Carmela. You got me fired up over here. We face to face. Just hey, I'm giving you a virtual high five right now. I'm just so inspired by you just investing your time. I thank you. I count it as a privilege being able to hear your stories. And I wrote down some notes here. People joke me about my journal with the blank pages, but I got about a page and a half of notes of what you all shared, and looking at how myself and my team, we can help support what it is that you're doing. But you guys are awesome. You guys are leaders. You are definitely our future. Even while you all were talking, I've already connected with my team between Nirvana and Ryan. We're going to circle back with you in the very near future, look at how we can support you directly and what it is that you're doing. Stefan, I'm not sure what kind of background. I know you said you had a job interview. We're going to see what we could do to help support you there, just across the board. But I'm really inspired by you all. I'm actually looking to learn a little bit more from you. Is interesting. I look at the little bit of gray in my beard here and asking for sort of, hey, what are you going to do 10 years from now? And I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting up there a little bit. And so let me make sure I do my part. And I'm looking to, really hear from you all and really take what it is what you're sharing to implement in a lot of the work that we do. So again, I'm proud of you all. Thank you again for sharing with us today. And if we are not transitioning to Karima, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon.
Yes, we are closing out. I'm going to share my screen again. Please, staff and residents, guests who have shown up, like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can see it on my my background. We shared this to YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so you can check out previous Rezility days. Thank you again, everyone, for joining, and we will go out to music. See you next time. I forgot to mention, we do Rezility Day the second Friday of every month. This was a special edition, so we will be back here on November 13th. So please join us again. We'll probably do Twist It Up then too. I'll let you know as we get closer. We may do something with, I think Steven's mom was on. So we want to maybe hear from moms. We're going to hear from the moms in our community that are mothers of some of these young people that are struggling to connect, struggling to, complete their work online. So we'll continue this work and continue to listen, and as much as we can from our residents to learn and hopefully be successful in providing communities in which we all can thrive. So thank you. And cue the music. Can you hear it this time? Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.